we could get started here. We could try to kind of get near the front of it so we can look full and be close together here for the meetup tonight. I'd like to welcome everybody to our February meetup. Who's, a lot of familiar faces here, but can you raise your hand if this is your first LVTech meetup? Oh, a couple, that's good, a few. Oh, a daughter back there, that's good. So welcome. We are LVTech. We do these monthly meetups. Tonight's our meetup where we're going to have 3 companies, and hopefully, well, 3. I'm still waiting for one more to come in here. But we do monthly meetups where we have companies present, kind of share what they're working on, to demo their products and their services, to kind of show the type of technologies that's being built here in the Lehigh Valley and around the Lehigh Valley. So tonight we're going to get started, and then what we're going to do is we'll have our presenters present, probably about 15 minutes each. We'll do a little bit of Q&A after each presentation, and then after that we'll also have an open mic. So if you have anything you want to announce or to share with the group, we'll have a little time for that afterwards. We do have pizza and soda in the back, so if you've not gotten that, please feel free to go back there and get that, and throughout the night here. So we'll let you start with eventuosity. Did you come up here? I think Doug.
Video going, huh?
Live stream.
Oh boy. Streaming live. Do you want to use the... You don't want to do walk around?
Yeah, okay. If I stand back here, I'll probably just trip over this thing, so. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. My name's Doug Panzer. I am the CTO of Eventuosity. It's a company that my brother conceived, and it's me, my mom, and my brother. Makes for awesome office dynamics when we all get together. And my brother was supposed to be here tonight to present to you guys, but he got stuck in the snow in North Carolina and Maryland, and couldn't be here. So I am going to do my best and wing his awesome presentation, but any questions you have, let me know, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to handle them for you. So Eventuosity is an event technology web and mobile application. The event technology market has grown to about a $30 billion market. And we think that it's going to continue to grow at about $1 billion annually over the next few years. But what we're really looking at from a tech perspective is solving a problem that we recognized from my brother's experience as a marketing professional for over 20 years. And that is that you have all of these people who are organizing teams, organizing events, and trying to coordinate and plan for these teams to attend the events, to successfully run the events, to take care of all of the things that go into successfully getting your team there, achieving your objective there, whether it's a sales meeting or a presentation, or it could be a social event, a sporting event, travel, any kind of group event that you can think of. And we recognize that there's sort of a chasm in the technology here. You've got, on the one side, all of these, more of the, per se, event planning, event management type applications. So you have things like Eventbrite and Cvent, where people are signing up for events, people are organizing the time and the place and the attendance, who's going to attend. And then on the far side, you got to the point where you've gone to your event and you come home and you are getting into reporting and analytics, and you're looking at some of the expenses that you've incurred, the leads that you generated at the event. But in the middle, there was this problem of all of these people who are attending the event being disorganized. The person who's running that team, who's typically the head of a marketing department, trying to get all of their people in order, staff a booth, plan breakout events, manage schedules, maybe even handle documents if you need certain types of identification or collateral, and you have to have all these things on hand. You've got this one person who seems to be trying to herd all these cats and do this with PowerPoint and Excel and Outlook calendars and Outlook emails, and all of these things are flying around in this disjointed environment. So what we tried to do is close this gap with eventuosity. So eventuosity lets you do all of the things you see here. It lets you enter information about an event that you're going to, and you can do this in advance. So then you're going to prepare to attend this event. You build schedules for your team. You've got different people on your team. You assign staff to different tasks, different sub-events, different responsibilities at the event. You can allocate resources such as anything from an actual pop-up booth that you might take to a trade show to literally handouts, the marketing collateral that you need to hand out to people who come to your booth. One example, I keep talking about this in terms of marketing teams and trade show type events, but one of the ways that this came about was because a hockey organization that we started was actually going to the Pond Hockey Championship in Eagle River, Wisconsin. And the first year, pond hockey, you have 3-on-3, so 7 guys go, and it's easy. They all get on a plane, take their bags, fly in, and show up and play, no problem. Well, if any of you guys know hockey guys, you have a good time, and then you tell all your friends what a great time you had, and all your friends want to do it too. So the next year, 2 teams went, 14 guys, 2 teams. And by the time that this happened, 4 years, 5 years in a row, they were up to 49 people, 7 teams, 3 different airports for departures and 2 different airports for arrivals. Multiple rental cars, multiple hotel rooms, multiple game schedules. People were consolidating hockey bags, hockey sticks into stick bags, things like that. And my brother sat there and said, well, I'm managing this the same way I would manage a marketing team going to a corporate event. And it all kind of came together. And so we built an app, a web and mobile application that could let you manage anything from all of the power strips that you need to take to make sure your booth is running, or all of the hockey sticks that need to go into a bag that's going to go on the plane at BWI, and it's going to have the sticks for the guys from BWI and Dulles, and you're going to meet all the guys who flew in from Chicago, and we all met up in Wisconsin. So you can see how this scales. We sort of talk about it scaling up to the enterprise and down to recreational activities, sporting events, things like that. Now, in the corporate sense, there are constant challenges for someone whose job is to organize all of these things. Dollars are constantly being cut from marketing budgets, especially in the last 5 to 7 years. We know the economy hasn't been stellar, and that's a seemingly good place, people think, to cut budgets. Shorter planning windows because you have more activities, you have more events to go to, and you have to get all of these people, all of these tasks organized before you can get to any of these events. And so we have to achieve our strategic alignment by figuring out who's going to go where, what resources do they need, what responsibilities do they have, and how are we going to communicate that between the team, make sure it gets achieved, and then report about it having been achieved. So what we built was Eventuosity. It is web-based for any users, but typically the administrative user who is the head of whatever team or group is participating would log on via the web application. They can assign, create users, assign authorizations, put these users into different groups, give them different tasks, different responsibilities, and then all users will have the mobile application, or they can access the web application. And you can actually push notifications to people. Hey, you're supposed to be at the booth right now, talking about the super new product that we just launched. We're going to have a sub event. We're going to create a sub event for a dinner with a special client this evening. We need you to be there, and we can track all of the responsibilities and the activities of all these people. So you can see the benefits for our customers of using eventuosity. It streamlines the planning window, the planning process. You can templatize all of this. It's repeatable. We can include suggestions of what you should be doing, what you did last time, checklists. And the improved attendee experience is really what we're going for here. If you're, again, in a corporate environment, if your attendees, your group attendees, are more efficient, more effective, you're going to drive more sales, you're going to have a more efficient spend on the marketing experience, and hopefully that's going to lead to a positive return on investment. So that's the presentation. I think I have a couple minutes to load up a demo here. All right. So let's see. Somebody just got a reminder, you could use eventuosity for that. All right, so number one, we'll go back here. So this is the web version of eventuosity. If you had the mobile application, you would see obviously a similar but streamlined version of this. And what you see here is our ability as an administrative user here to create events, view your calendar, look at all the people who are part of your team, assign schedules and tasks to them. And you can see we've got, again, we're managing resources, whether it's any kind of physical resource, including a space that you can assign to a task or to a space or an activity. Budgeting and expense components and tasks, your own personal tasks, what's been assigned to you. One of the really cool features, I think, of eventuosity is also the communication features and then the binder. The binder, if any of you know marketing people, you know they're constantly running around these trade shows literally with big binders of information. You know, I've got information about the schedule, I've got information about travel, I've got information about the people, I've got information about where they're staying. All of that is now managed in a binder. So nobody's running around with binders or reams of paper. And it's all managed in here. You can scan directly in there. You can upload it from Dropbox or Google Docs, and you can share that between your team members. So let me show you, if we go into our events list here, let's look at a movie screening event. So you can see we've got our event that's going to occur at Drexel University. We've got Google Maps integration, so anybody who is part of this event can click into here and simply, there you go, you can see you're going to end up at about 34th and Chestnut maybe. And we can then look through all of our contacts, which we've imported into here. We can select attendees to be on our team, to assign them to this event. We can manually create attendees who are going to be part of the team at this event, create tasks and assign those tasks to an attendee, and most importantly, to provide the value of this experience, we can put in the budgeting and expense information that goes along with all of the tasks and the resources that have been assigned to the event. We also, you can see here, this is our main event, the movie viewing at Drexel University. We could actually also add multiple locations and multiple sub-events. So let's say we had a nearby hotel, we would add that as an additional location here. We could then assign that or this main location to any sub-event, whether it was a dinner or the after party after the movie screening, where the popcorn fight will take place. And so then you can take a look at this all in the calendar view. Here's a list view. We've got your typical calendar view that you're probably used to seeing in Outlook, Google Calendar. And I think we've made this pretty efficient, pretty effective. We're constantly developing. We've been around for about a year and 4 months now. We're starting to gain some good traction, and we're going to continue to build it and hopefully serve all of the event planning needs of everyone under the sun. So I'm not going to belabor the presentation since my brother would have been so much better at it, but hopefully that gives you a pretty clear idea of what the product is, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Is there, you have attendees, so is there ticket integration built in with other ticketing systems, or is it a zone?
We can work with, we have certain API abilities, and then we'll work with APIs from any other applications. We've done a few custom things at this point. Out of the box, we don't integrate with the registration type systems, but we can do that.
Have you developed the application in-house, or have you been contracted it out?
It's technically contracted out, but it's with a team that we're very familiar with, someone that I've actually known since college. So it's kind of like having our own development team. They've been with us since day one. So yes, it's technically contracted out, but we work very closely with them.
I see like you have the capability to do budgeting and expenses in there. Is that more just from an accounting perspective, keeping track of the costs and budget, or is there a way to actually distribute funding to like make it available to those team members?
So there's no actual financial transactions going on here. It is from an accounting perspective. We have actually been talking about some integration on different ends of the financial piece of this, but we're very much focused on the budgeting because, again, our main customer is the head of a marketing department who is planning this event, has a specific budget that he or she has to work with for the year, and can allocate all of those budgeted line or that budget to line items in preparing to go to the event. And then on the back end, we have the reporting of how did our actuals match up to our projections, and then we can roll that back into hopefully what we find from conversions of sales leads that come from the event that we went to, and see if we can find some good ROI.
So do you license this to like companies, or do you charge like by the head? So let's say I'm like a manager and I have a team of 20 people. Like, am I paying like for each individual person, or would you like license this to say Apple for X amount of dollars?
So we've done a number of different licensing models. The way we typically license it is the number of concurrent events. So if you want to handle one event a year, that's probably going to determine your user count as well. We found that if you're doing 100 events a year, you're usually in a somewhat bigger organization. But the answer to your question is yes. We'll do any size. Literally, a soccer mom who's organizing the soccer league, and maybe there are 3 people who are logging on and using this, or it could be a 20-person, 50-person marketing organization, and that may mean that you've got 1 or 2 people who are running at the admin level, and then different attendees, different team members are attending different events, so they're adding different people to the different events and authorizing them. So it really, we're licensing it on a per, number of concurrent events basis, but it will work for a team regardless of headcount.
So you keep track of the events yourselves then? So it sounds like you're licensing, like, so if I have one event, after that's over, I have to then pay again for the next one?
Well, yeah, if you actually wanted to have another concurrent event, you would have to upgrade. Let's say if you had the 5 concurrent event package, and you wanted to do 7 events, you would then be stepped up to the next licensing level.
When you actually create the tasks, are you pre-populating the tasks for a specific event? Or is it just the person who is entering the tasks has to know these are all the list of tasks that I would have to manage during the event?
Yeah, at this point, it's based on initial manual entry, and then we templatize things from there. So it makes a repeatable process. But yes, from the at the beginning, when a new user, a new account comes onto the system, it will be manual entry. We actually have done a little bit of, you can call it professional services, to help people get up to speed there, get all of their legacy sort of planning data into the system. But yeah, we're not doing any kind of intelligence in that regard necessarily of saying, and we can, and these discussions come up, but we're not doing it right now. Where for instance, if you were going to CES, we know you're going to need, do you know that you need carpet? Do you know that you need to order power separately for your booth? Do you know that you need to pay separately for vacuuming every night? So yes, we could put all those things in there. At this point, we let people sort of templatize from their own initial input.
On the reporting side, are you planning on integrating with some of the major CRM providers?
Yes, obviously everybody thinks of Salesforce. Lead gen is really not the purpose of eventuosity. So we are sort of linking up to the data output and letting that, letting people let that play with the data that you collected from your lead gen system. But yeah, we're very interested in how we can expand, the event management with its tied with lead management without doing lead management. We're definitely not trying to compete with Salesforce and all of its competitors.
No, but it might help your ROI calculations tie directly in. A lot of
Right.
Struggle with attribution of leads to the various events.
Yeah, and that's definitely a present and developing project at the moment.
What's been your main method of acquiring new customers? Has it been like word of mouth? Have you done advertising?
It's been very much word of mouth and the trade show route. I've been out in various industries for 15 years, my brother for about 20 years. Our mom is an attorney and a banker. So there's been a lot of word of mouth. We've been pretty lucky in that regard. And again, our marketing, actual sales and marketing events have been mostly from the trade show route.
All right, any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right, so next.
Should I use your laptop or?
Well, yeah, that would probably, at least we can put you on projector here on this display.
Anyone not have any? Oh, I don't know if it'll be enough, but you can pass those around.
Do you want to try to hook up here?
No, it's fine. I can just log on
Cool.
through here. It's not a big deal. It's just gonna take a minute. It's on the Google Drive. Might have to log out of yours.
You aren't gonna lose the stream, are you?
No. Separate.
The computer. Should always have your text enabled.
All right, I guess I'll talk a little bit about some of the announcements we're going to talk about at the end. But I guess everybody's found this through meetup.com, right? Most everybody here through the events. Usually, if you to follow us, that's probably the best place. We're a little bit active on Twitter too, so you can also follow our account there. But the upcoming events, we always like to talk about those to kind of keep you guys informed. The next, we also do a happy hour, which is sponsored by Startup Digest. We could do design for Startup Digest. I think it's Startup Digest Lehigh Valley. Search for that. I think it comes up.
Sure.
It's a newsletter talking about startups, technology here in the Lehigh Valley. So if you're interested in that, I think if you just Google Lehigh Valley Startup Digest, it'll come up, and it's an email sign up. But the Greg, the organizer of that newsletter, he organizes the happy hours that we have. So they are posted to our meetup.com, so you can follow us there. The next one is on March 3rd, and we're not sure where it's going to be yet. That'll probably be posted the next couple of weeks, so we'll find out about that. Our next meetup then will be on March 17th, and what we like to do is we like to switch up the format for each of the meetups. The next meetup we're actually going to have a panel, and it's going to be about crowdfunding. So it'll be pretty interesting. We'll have about 3 or 4 people on a panel to be a lot of Q&A, a lot of questions. So if you're interested in crowdfunding, either starting a new project or crowdfunding a company or want to know people who've done it before, please come out for that. And are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, I'll finish my announcements later then.
All right, my name is Brian Bruza. I'm a mechanical engineer from Lehigh University, and he was talking about crowdfunding there, and actually I'm someone who's done crowdfunding before, and I had a relatively successful Kickstarter, and I'll talk to you a bit about that. But I helped design NFC tags, and NFC tags are these little copper circuits that you can program, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. I have some on my keychain. I have keychain ones. And when you scan this, it'll open up Pandora, turn Bluetooth on, and a variety of other settings that I have for when I get in my car. You can also share contact information. There's 1,000 different things you can really program them to do. So it's a little difficult to explain. But I even have one on my wrist. I have a wristband one right here. And when you scan it with your phone, my website pops up. So you can use them to market things. You can use them inside your home to pause and play Netflix with various apps. There are dozens of available apps that you can program them for different tasks and purposes. One of the main problems is teaching users what to exactly do with them, because they're so powerful and open source and dynamic that you can create any sort of solution you really want. So they connect the digital and physical world. So you have a physical little tag that you take adhesive off and you stick it somewhere, and you can program it to do whatever you want. So they're sort of better QR codes, if you will. You can design them so that there's a call to action and people can understand. You scan it with your phone rather than just a blur of black and white QR code look. They're scannable with your smartphone. They work with Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, and iPhone 6 soon to be. iPhone 6 has an NFC chip in it, but currently it's locked down to Apple Pay. But within a few months or a year, it should be opened up and developers can create applications for it. They're open source, they're secure, and they're used by many, many companies. This is just a little graph from NFC World, a journal about NFC, and it shows you that every year millions and millions of more NFC-enabled devices are hitting the market. So it's definitely a technology that's relevant and that a lot of people are going to be using. So I took my product, which turns NFC tags into more user-friendly, communicative NFC tags. I started with 12 little pictograms that you put on top so you can understand what it does. Whether it opens up your favorite Angry Birds game, or sets your volume, or you can even toggle Wi-Fi lights and things like that. So I started with those 12, and I went to Kickstarter as my minimal viable product. And I did a 40-day campaign, and you can see how it did. In the beginning, it was a little slow. I picked up a little more momentum, and it finished a bit strong. And I only wanted 3,000, but I ended up with 11,000. So it worked for me, and I was able to start my company using this initial round of funds. And so what I ended up with at the end of the Kickstarter campaign, based on various suggestions from the community, was 96 stickers and various other features people can do. It was just more of the sticker designs that I did. You can put one on your dog's keychain to, when you scan it, it will pop up with your phone number. So your dog gets lost, someone sees a little keychain that says, scan me with your phone, and your phone number pops up, or it sends an automatic text saying, I found your dog, text me. There's the little keychain on the dog. Some of the challenges that I had on Kickstarter was, first of all, learning how to build a website. That was something many of you probably have gone through. But after that, I had to market it every day, whether it was through posting on social media or talking word of mouth. I tried pretty much everything. I found Reddit to be one of my most useful sources of acquiring traffic, as well as Kickstarter's organic traffic, which is definitely a lot better than any other platform I experienced. I would not go with Indiegogo, I would go with Kickstarter. Then I had to communicate with China to get my tags manufactured. And, that's not too bad, but sometimes English communication can be a struggle. But then after that, I had to ship the product, and there's some ins and outs to using stamps.com software and other softwares you can use to deliver a couple hundred units of product or whatever you're shipping. And then from there, I did some partnerships. I partnered with the Unified Remote App Developers, and that's an Android app that has 3 million downloads, and it allows you to control your PC with your smartphone, move the mouse around, type things. But you can also program NFC tags with that app, and so I could pause and play Netflix by scanning a tag real quick. I was going to show you a little demonstration, but now the laptop's not exactly working here. So NFC is also the technology used in Google Wallet, Apple Pay, Softcard, and even Bitcoin is supported now on contactless payment terminals, which are those little terminals you go up to CVS and you scan your phone and it pays via Google Wallet or Apple Pay. So it's the same technology. And NFC can be used in a variety of ways. My next Kickstarter product is actually NFC business cards, and that campaign's going live tomorrow. But you can put them on product packaging. I've seen them on movie posters outside the movie theater, so you scan it and the trailer will pop up. Or you can even use them as ID cards to access security-sensitive areas. So you can print a business card or something that they wear around their neck, and they scan into the design office and you can get access. They use backstage passes as well sometimes. Even Disney bought 100 million NFC tags about a year or two ago, and they included them in all of their new toys. So your kid gets the NFC-enabled stuffed animal or teddy bear, and when they scan it, they'll interact with Disney's app or whatever solution they've decided to integrate. I know that they were also used by Disney and it's escaping me right now. There's another major company that uses it as well, but the point is that major companies, Coca-Cola's used them, even Google and Nokia have bought NFC tags from my competitors, and they bought hundreds of thousands of them from them. So it's a very large market. These are just some examples of other NFC card designs that I have. I've been applying both personal use cases for NFC tags, such as in the home, pausing Netflix, turning on Wi-Fi lights, starting Pandora when you get in your car. But then there's also the business applications where you can network with them, trade contact information, and you can store all the things on that one card. So when someone scans your contact info card, they'll get your email, your name, your phone number, every single piece of information you want to put on there, you can pretty much fit. Or just redirect to a Facebook link and automatically have them like your page. It's that simple. And so what I do is I offer NFC solutions. I help clients and consumers program them and learn what they can do exactly, and I always want to make it convenient. I want them to communicate with a strong call to action, and I want to educate users because 9 out of 10 people I talk to have no idea what NFC is, but chances are your phone can do it. So there's got to be some sort of disconnect between educating the consumer, and that's where I've been trying to fill my role as the PhoneHome project and teach users. And so that's it. And you can go to phonehomeproject.com if you have more information on NFC, and you can email me there if you want as well, and I'll be sure to answer any other questions. But for now, questions? Yes?
You deal with security issues, so it doesn't launch something malicious on your phone.
Well, I suppose I've actually talked to people online about this. I suppose you could put a URL with linking to a virus or something like that, but Chrome and those other mobile browsers have security features to prevent that. And as a general safe precaution, I wouldn't go about scanning random NFC tags you see in public. There's a certain way, if you're going to be using an NFC tag for marketing purposes, you need to be able to, you can lock it down so it can never be reprogrammed again. So if you have it in a public space, it links to the bus schedule at the bus stop or something like that. That's another example many bus companies have been doing lately. You would have it locked down so no one can reprogram it. So it is secure. And I haven't read about any malicious uses of NFC tags yet, direct examples of someone infecting a virus via an NFC tag. I'm sure it's possible, but it seems unlikely, and it's not going to happen in a general scenario, I would say. There are more effective ways of infecting someone with a virus, probably. Yes?
How much do NFC tags cost?
Well, generally, I offer a series of packages on my website. They range from between $1 or less per tag, depending on how many you buy. If you buy them in the hundreds, it gets underneath $1, and it only gets better as you go up. But the main thing I offer is just designing the NFC tag. So if you wanted a custom solution or a custom NFC business card, I'm a graphic artist, a graphic designer, as well as a mechanical engineer. And so I help clients develop their own solution, put their logo on it or whatever purpose they want to use these tags for.
And are people using these at all for tracking applications where a barcode or a QR code or something like that might be used today?
I'm sorry, what did you mean by tracking application?
Like being able to scan the tag as a way of saying, all right, this item that has the tag with it is now in my facility, and maybe I want to get some information about who's had it before in a supply chain.
I have read about one company using it as a way to track inventory. There are companies that use them as authenticators. Prada bags or some expensive, luxury line clothing, they will add NFC tags on a high luxury item. And when you scan it, it accesses their database and tells you this is a legitimate article and this isn't, a fake or a reproduction. But as far as, inventory warehouse management, I've read about it. NFC is a subset of RFID technology, so it can definitely be used for those purposes, I would say. Yes.
So you mentioned that there's, it's sort of early in the process and there may be a consumer education gap right now. What do you think is the biggest or most likely sort of unrecognized demand from the consumer side at this point? Like where is the everyday person going to use this most?
Well, I'll start with saying the number one issue NFC has right now is Apple. Apple doesn't support scanning the tags yet, but with Apple Pay coming out last year, that should become a reality. But the most common use case I've seen people use them for is business cards. There are various websites that you can have your own card designed, and tomorrow I'll be launching my own Kickstarter, offering my own line of designing for that. But I would say business and marketing applications have been larger than personal in-home use. That's definitely where the market is stronger, but I've attacked both.
So one more question? All right, thank you. All right, so our last presenter of the night is Strivr.
Or you can use this one if you want.
This would be English. Reset the technology.
Hi, my name is Zach Gray. I actually was a freshman at Lehigh University when I was playing baseball here and had the idea for Strivr. I was put it to the side, and about 2 weeks later, I broke my wrist. So Strivr actually started as a hobby that summer to keep me busy, and almost 2 years later, we launched at Lehigh University in small beta tests in September, and are now looking to expand as well as test a few other avenues. So a little background on Strivr is I basically wanted to create a platform where friends could reach out to large groups of friends for help. This could mean a ride, it could have meant someone to watch your dog if you're going on vacation, it could have meant a lot of things. And when I started looking into what else was out there and what I was really trying to solve, the problem I was trying to solve, I realized that the problem I was trying to solve was people have a hard time asking for help. So I did some research into this, and in the past week, 7 out of 10 people needed help, but didn't ask for it. And the reasons I found were silly. They were feeling guilty, not wanting to use it but favor in fear of needing one later on, not wanting to put someone on the spot, and other reasons. So this past summer, I was actually home in northern Jersey, and a friend of mine calls me. His name was Tyler, and he says, "Zach, you have to drive Matt to the train. He needs to go to the city for dinner. His family's already there, and he doesn't know how else to get there." So I said, "Well, question, Tyler, I've known Matt since I was 5 years old. He lives a mile from me. Why are you calling me? Why isn't Matt calling me?" And he's like, "Oh, well, you haven't seen him since high school. He hasn't talked to you in a while. Is he really going to text you out of nowhere and say, 'Zach, hope the last 2 years has been good, but can you drive me to the train in 10 minutes?'" So I realized that Strivr was already in the process of being built. I realized this is exactly what Strivr is for. So the difference with Strivr is when we look at help, the word help overall as a general meaning of how people perceive it, help is mainly perceived as very time-consuming or very expensive. It's a long day at a soup kitchen, or it's writing a check to a charity, and those things are great, but that sort of limits how much we can help if we think of it that way. So what we believe at Strivr is that there's everyday opportunities to help right in our backyard, and we might not even know it, or even if we want to do it, might not even have the opportunity because of this. So I actually, in a recent conversation I had with someone, I said, if we were to leave the room right now, and we were like, I have a few extra minutes, I'm going to try to help someone, where would we even start? I mean, looking at the feel-good side of Strivr, if we tried to go help someone outside of this room, most likely wouldn't find an opportunity in the time slot we have. So to us, help means a lot of things, but that's the whole idea, is a lot of things and not one thing. And they're random. The way we sort of encompass what happens on Strivr is the random everyday helps life throws at you. So right now our focus has been colleges and universities, but you can see it's as simple as a last-minute ride, needing an Advil before an exam. We actually had someone get a popcorn maker and a waffle maker on Strivr. They just needed one for a show, and they said, "Does anyone have one? Instead of me spending $300 to buy one, can I borrow one for an hour or 2 hours?" And the idea is you might text 3 people, but with Strivr, you're potentially reaching hundreds, thousands, however many people are on there around you. So you can see how this is actually a new feature we put in recently. The recently completed helps just show what's been accomplished globally, actually. So you can see some of the real examples. They at this point, actually, our physical and virtual helps are about 50-50. So people say, well, don't you want to narrow it down and just make it for one thing, like rides or questions? And actually, that's, I think, the beauty of Strivr is the comparison I make is all these other social networks tell you that you have the ability to post something, or let's look at Snapchat as the ability to post a photo or video, but they don't tell you what to post. the photo or video of. We basically want to be the place where people can ask their friends for help, whatever help means to them. So the way Strivr works is a question I get a lot is, okay, like this is great, if you have a community of people, are they strangers, what are they? Actually, the way Strivr works is two ways. A big one is your inner circle, which you connect your closest friends, and another way is the larger community around you. So believe it or not, this is actually, it seems like this happens a lot, but it's happened to us as well. We spent 8 months developing this app, and we spent a year and a half putting time into it in thought and concept. And when it got out there, we had a few ideas of features that would be the most liked and used and clicked. And we actually found that that was not the case. And our biggest feature right now is actually one that we just decided to throw in there as an add-on. And it's really the reason that Strivr is able to succeed. So this inner circle, you connecting your Facebook friends or phone contacts. It's unlike Facebook, a one-way system. So if I have to friend someone, they have to accept me on Facebook. This is actually, I'm putting my friend Mike Bender in my inner circle. He has no way of knowing he's in my inner circle, or if he's not. So it's actually private. I might be in his, he might not be in mine, and that's okay. What happens is you're telling us a few things when you make an inner circle. You're telling us that these are the people you care about, and you want to know when they get help, when they need help. So push notifications are generally looked upon negatively in apps. Like if I think of a few, I think of Tango, I think of Shazam, I think of Waze, sending push notifications, and I rarely ever open the app. As a matter of fact, most of the time I turn them off. But what we actually find is we don't send you anything. We make push notifications about you. So anytime someone in your inner circle needs help, you get notified. So that the value of this is, it's basically a way to hold a more instantaneous group message without the annoying back and forth, without having to make a group message, and you have the ability to reach out to people who are in different groups at one time. So let's say I needed a ride from Ben Franklin back to a dorm at Lehigh or wherever else. I would post a Strivr. It is theoretically possible that 500 people are going to get a push notification telling them that I need help. So the value of me sending virtually a text message to 500 people is, exponentially increasing my chances that someone's going to be driving around, as opposed to texting 3 or 4 of them. So that is actually one of the things that leads to our most engagement. As a requester, leads to significant success in getting help. And at this point is a huge aspect of our success. So to show you a little bit about how the app actually works, there's sort of 2 universes. The everyone in the inner circle. The inner circle is just going to keep it to your friends. The everyone's going to let you connect with others around you that you might not already know. So these are all open requests in Strivr. Now, there's categories of rides, moving, school, pets, around the home. If I was only interested in one of them, that top right funnel is a filter. So it narrows it down to either category or time or age bracket of poster. If I clicked on everyone, it would get rid of everyone I didn't know. It would only show me people in my inner circle. You see that blue ring. Now, if I clicked on one of these requests, it would show me information vital to determine whether I can help them or not. It would show me the request summary, additional details. If pictures are relevant, in this case they're not really relevant, but if pictures are relevant, then any pictures and the time frame that person needs help. If I clicked offer to help, it would take me here. So we're trying to create this feel-good environment in Strivr of helping others so they can help you and vice versa. Any information I would want to put, like, hey, I could be there at 8:30, I couldn't get there at 8, can you pay for my gas, whatever you want to say to them, and some method for them to contact you. If I want to find out more about the user, this top bar on that top right screen, if I clicked on her profile picture, it would take me to her profile. I can see how many points she has, which is points from offering help. The hearts are how many people she's got actually helped. Her past requests, her past accepted offers, open offers, reviews, etc. Basically, we're the way we see Strivr is we're sort of dabbling in the middle of social media and a lot of transaction-based apps. We look at the Ubers, we look at the TaskRabbits, the Lyfts, all those things where you're hiring someone to fulfill a service for you. But we think we all have resources that we would love to offer our friends. We think those transactions can take place without necessarily having to hire someone. Now, doesn't necessarily mean we're competing with Uber, we're competing with Task, we're competing with Lyft. The way when people ask me that, my response is always, if you're in the library and you need a phone charger, you're going to hire a TaskRabbit to bring you a phone charger. Or you're going to hire an Uber driver to take you from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. You might, but how often can you do that, and why not just ask a friend? So right now we're focused on pre-existing communities. We started with Lehigh University, and actually it was not always the way we envisioned launching. We expected a sort of more widespread launch, and it was the greatest thing we did was because there was a lot of information we needed to gain. The app is actually nowhere near where it needs to be. There's things that are way too complex. There's things that should be working differently. But this is it was an information gathering period for us, and we had huge success actually. So in the past semester at Lehigh, we're only for iPhone as of right now. So we predict there's about approximately 3,000 iPhones at Lehigh. Last semester we attained about 1,600 of them, and right now we're close to 2,000 at Lehigh alone. So we're actually not after users, we're after users in the communities that we're launching in. I could care less if I had 30,000 users right now across the world. I want 3,000 at Lehigh. So last semester we saw about 5,000 requests and offers at Lehigh, and close to, the tough thing is that the system works in certain ways. So a successful help in terms of the system's eyes is if you accept an offer to help. So if I needed a ride, if I accepted an offer, that would go under the recently completed helps, and the system would think that's successful. But because right now it's half virtual, half physical, what we find is if I ask for a good Netflix show and I get 15 responses, I'm not going to accept one of them and not all of them, because what happens is we want to take everything out of your hands. So if you need a ride, you get 4 responses, you accept one, it notifies the accepted offer that they've been accepted, and the other ones that they have not been accepted, but thank you for offering help. So we actually are about a 90% success rate of posting to help. So there's at this point, a 9 out of 10 chance that you'll get help on Strivr. I was actually in a conversation today where I said to someone, why do you like Strivr? And the answer was, because I know I'll get help. And that's really what's led us to success so far, is our success rate is so high, and the ones that we don't succeed on are usually unreasonable or jokes, or can someone pick me up at 3 a.m. And the one thing we try to say is Strivr still is the real world. I mean, it's people doing things for you. It's not magic. But yeah, the idea we really believe in and think that differentiates us is a few things. There's a lot of people that you would text when you need something, but this is going to connect you to the people you would and wouldn't. So when I was on the baseball team at Lehigh, we had a group message that people would ask for things like this in the group message. And we found a few things. One, you would often feel bad. After a while, you'd stop asking. 2, you couldn't connect with any of your other friends via that group message. And 3, it was not the right place for it. It's like, as time has shown, there's not necessarily that capability, but rather focus and expectation. So we look at the other networks out there, and you get Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. I mean, minor differences between capability, but it's the focus and expectation that I know I'm going to one place that this is what I'm going to see. And right now we're actually trying to expand to 3 other schools, and we are also running a test in a nonprofit and a test in a small business community of about 50 employees. So at this point, we're hoping to just get as much information as possible. I think our goals for this semester in the college setting is to replicate and expand upon the success we've had here, and then see where else this might be useful. I mean, we've heard I'm sure that a lot of you, when I first started talking about Strivr, may have thought that this was for parents with young children or charities or something else. There's a lot of different ways this could go. At this point, pre-existing community seems to be one of the most important aspects of making this launch work. So colleges was a decision we made based on that. Yeah, that's sort of wraps it up. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
How do you monetize it? What's your revenue?
Right now, there's no revenue. The idea is we're sort of we're trying to build our future in a way that trying to figure out exactly what we are. Meaning, as I said before, this I think is a reality of we look at these what I call marketplaces for hire of the Ubers and TaskRabbits, and they're going to take a percentage of each transaction that takes place. Then we look at advertising that's most common on other networks. I think we're somewhere in the middle, where we're not going to take a piece of any transaction that happens all outside of the app. We're not going to charge you for use, but the truth is there are transactions taking place here. And at some point, I think the monetization strategy will be capitalizing on those transactions, whether it's a sponsorship, whether it's like Waze has similar things where you're driving around and ask if you want to go to the nearest Dunkin' Donuts. Click here, it's 0.2 miles, that's 10 minutes to your trip. We're looking into similar things like that, but that's at this point not the focus. We're gonna have to build a more established network, user base, engaged community, and sort of have the idea of what the long term is gonna look like before I think we have the right answer for that. Yep, go ahead.
So you said now you have the Lehigh and you're looking at some others. Will they remain closed communities as far as Lehigh, Pitt, or this company? Because I could think of this as a use for some churches.
Right.
You know, you have a community, but you don't want it among the church.
Right.
So if you had these 300 people, could you have a closed community?
There are ways to easily do it. Right now it works where you only have everyone in your inner circle. We believe closed communities is the future of Strivr. We actually based our launch at other schools upon making sure that they weren't on the same feed. It's got to be relevant to users, and at some point it has to be private as well. So I think the future is definitely closed communities. At this point, our launches are the feed, the default of the everyone feed is everything within 25 miles of you. But we're actually doing no promotion outside of the schools. So we haven't seen not only has student posted Lehigh since we launched. So it's sort of acting as a closed community even without being a closed community. We've actually gone to schools outside of the barrier. We've actually narrowed the barrier down from 50 miles to 25 miles and picked schools that worked with the limits we were trying to achieve, because that would be a huge problem if we had the 3,000 posts we saw last semester at Lehigh combined with now 3,000 from Villanova. You have to click on it to see, oh, is this something that I can even help with? Is it not? And that would be, I think, a big user experience flaw. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right, so I'd like to thank all three companies who presented. I think they did a great job tonight. Also like to thank Wayne from Ben Franklin. He's very gracious for hosting us here for our monthly meetups.
Very gracious.
Very gracious. I would very, very appreciate that. So if you have any questions, if you're new to this group and you're kind of curious about this building, about what Ben Franklin offers,